我相信好多馬迷都會認為咧，馬圈咧就好多故事嘅，唔包括啲明爭暗鬥啦。咁啊，早喺告東尼同摩加里年代已經發生㗎啦。咁到底係咪真嘅咧？嗱，今集咧你揾到主角之一，阿摩加里咧就做我哋嘉賓，不如等佢親自答大家。How are you recently? You doing your training business in Sydney now?
Yes, it's 2 years since I've been back in Australia, and we've had great success, and I think that this year will be even better.
Is it a lot of people saying there's quite a high competition over there, and it's not easy to get support?
I think I have a full stable at the moment. I'm very grateful. I've always got the Asian Hong Kong support, but I also have a lot of local owners who have supported the stable at the yearling sales this year.
You want to be a jockey? Is it influenced by your dad? Oh, George?
Definitely, yeah. Well, Dad was a great jockey. I wanted to be a jockey from an early age, but as you know, I wasn't very good until the age of 20. I think probably because I had a very soft upbringing, but with travelling between Hong Kong and Europe and riding made me a better jockey, because I rode in Hong Kong 9 months and I rode in Europe for 3 months. But I really hit the big time at the age of 20.
In this case, give some advice to those youngsters.
Rayon, you have to be a natural. Like the young lady you got riding in Hong Kong. She's very, very good. She's a natural. You've got to be determined. You've got to believe that you can make it. And last but not least, you have to work hard, and you have to show good manners, good mannerism. Be polite to the trainers and the owners.
Almost 30 years.
Yes.
Okay, we see a few patch of champions. Tony Cruz,
yes.
You, then come to Battle Marcus, Darkest Right, and now it's of course Malera. You think they are same type of persons?
I think Moreira is a wonderful rider. He's light, he's got charisma, but I enjoyed mostly riding against Tony Cruz. He and I were good friends off the course. On the course, it was battle royale.
In old days, they said that you and Tony Cruz is really a sort of enemy. Only on the race?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we were very competitive. Sometimes I put my elbow out, and sometimes we rode very hard in those days. And I mean, it was before you had Chang Tai Chi, you had Tony Cruz and Gary Moore, and the competitiveness there was very, 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 very big.
You know, outsiders always believe that there's an infighting story between the jockeys, and a lot of things, rumors and gossip. Is it true? Any some interesting story to share with us?
I think it can be exaggerated. You know, I think that people are inclined to speak things very big in racing. Sometimes they're true, and sometimes they're not true.
So, have you and Tony tried to, get support from the owners, and have you ever think of steal off his horse, for riding?
Well, I mean, I was lucky I had my father, Rayon, to ride for, so I didn't have to look outside his stable. We were the best, and what Tony accomplished was fantastic, because he rode for George Sofanoff, and he had great support, but I had my father.
So, if I ask you to name a jockey you really admire of, is it your father?
My father? No, Lester Piggott. Lester Piggott. I think he's probably the jockey that I admire the most in my riding career. Lester Piggott was the greatest. I think because he changed the style of riding. Okay. He rode shorter, he had a long whip, and he had very, very great balance. And his normal body weight was very high, but he starved himself to ride 119, 120 pounds.
Being jockeys, you won because of fame, money, or excitement?
Well, I'm still excited. When I win in Australia, I'm a very excited person, especially when I win. You know, I had some great wins in my career as a jockey, but winning, group races in Australia is very, very precious. Well, I think to be able to support your family is most important.
Okay.
And to be lucky enough to get a good horse.
Tony Cruz is a champion in Hong Kong.
Yes.
Gary Moore too.
Yes.
But because of Tony Cruz got injured, he went to France. That's right, Gary got the chances. Do you agree?
I don't agree, no. I think I could have been, I was champion jockey, 7 times? And I was 1-time champion jockey of France, the only Australian, 8 times champion trainer in Macau. I mean, if I stayed in Hong Kong and rode the season, I would have been champion jockey another, 11 or 12 times. But I left early, to ride in the big races in France. And no, but Tony was a great rider.
Another thing, in the surface side, John and you is very, happy together. Once he got a big titleship, you celebrate with him. But there's something that actually you're in it's only peace in the surface side. One of the reasons is talk about the father, the old days. He's have a in kind on you, or always, Is it true?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Dad always had a preference for me. I love my brother. I admire him.
Any strain between you and him inside the heart?
Not really. We're very close now.
Yeah.
Probably not as close as before. Well, I'm very close to my brother now.
Yeah.
Probably not before. We weren't that close. But in relation to the horse business, I do my own side, and my brother and George do their side.
Yeah. Talk about James. Yes. He is your son.
Yes.
How old is he?
James is 23.
23. But he is a trainer already.
When I stepped down from training in Macau,
yeah.
James said to me, "Papa, can I take your stable over?"
Yeah.
And he came out of college. So he's done really well. I mean, he's had 20 winners. I think he'll do well, but it's probably going to take time because he's still a little immature. What's very important for anybody that's in the horse business, you've got to travel the world. You've got to go and see the different techniques, whether it's a jockey or a trainer. And that will make you a better horseman. John and I are getting older. We're looking for somebody to take over, and that's going to be a sad moment in racing when John retires. I don't know, that'll be the end of the Moore dynasty in Hong Kong.
We have to talk about weather.
Yes.
Okay, before we start the question about weather, we heard that the horse got some accident in the stable, need to rest for about 3 months. Is it serious?
I mean, it's very sad, Rayon, because I mean, he would have been a very live chance in the Longines in December. It's a setback. But as I said to Johnson Chan, the owner, you can concentrate on 2017 and maybe finish by running in the, defend his title for the Queen Elizabeth and finish the year running in the WS Cox Plate at Moonee Valley. I think that would be the way to go, but he's going to need 3 months.
But it's not really critical, right?
It's a hind leg. Hind suspensory, not front leg. If front leg, very difficult.
Yes. Don't you worry the horse being used up? Why you still recommend to Johnson? Just because it's not expensive, that's the only reason? Not
really, Rayon. I watched him for about 3 to 4 months, and he was very consistent. And I thought maybe coming out of the New Zealand environment and coming to Hong Kong would probably stand him in good stead, which it did. But to win the Derby, and to win the Queen Elizabeth was beyond my expectation. You've got to buy horses that are consistent. It's no good to buy a horse that's shown great form and then the form is tapered off. And where that form was consistent, even though, as you pointed out, he ran 11 times, which wasn't a worry for me.
Another horse I know is also purchased by you is Romantic Touch.
Yes.
Same, 10 times. The reason of getting him in is?
Well, I mean, he was a Group 1 winner as a 2-year-old. And another thing, I'd been watching him racing in Sydney when Gay Waterhouse had him, and he wasn't finishing far away. And he got a good rating when he came into Hong Kong, and he's done really well. He's probably just a little below Group 1, but probably a Group 3 horse here.
But how to make sure that the horse still can improve? And when you arrive to Hong Kong, can you show us some clues to get a good horse, not really being used up, but still can improve?
I think constitution is an important aspect. Watching the horses, watch them walk around the enclosure. Will they be able to accustom to the heat in the summer? How do they parade? It's just not going and buying a horse without taking these issues into consideration to be able to be stable under the environment of Hong Kong. That's where you've got to get it right.
We always believe that if we get a horse from you, or Gary, as a horse, recommend a horse to Hong Kong,
thank you,
have to go to John Moore stable. It's not true, right?
It's not true at all. I mean, I've had people ask me to look for horses in Australia, and I don't even ask them which trainer they're going to, right? And I don't think I need to. I'm very pleased to see the horses, go to other good trainers or trainers in Hong Kong and see them do well.
Usually you buy the horse for the owner from Australia. Will you consider the horse from UK or Ireland, any other region?
I think probably Europe has become very expensive with the Qataris and the Sheikh Mohammed's family. It's been very hard to buy horses out of Europe. Whereas I think, thanks to weather, New Zealand could be a good market now for people to look at.
Our horse indicates you're looking for a PP. Then you mentioned to me, you said, hey, we better think of to qualify a PP to Hong Kong. Is this a good way?
I think it's a way to look at that you don't have to pay too much money. The main idea is to trial them, but it's very hard, Rayon, to get to that 70 plus. I think there should be a little reduction, maybe to 68. I know it was 65, but 70 to buy out of the Australian market has become very, very expensive. Give the owners a relief. I'm not saying go back to 65, maybe go to 68. To get that to 70 is very, very hard. You've got to have a real nice horse to be able to obtain that mark.
In this case, always questions, PPG or PP?
Yes. I'll go PPG, trial twice, showed good gate speed, and maybe win a trial impressively.
Yeah.
And buy a stallion that has done well in Hong Kong.
Okay, last but not least, people could like to know more about your life, your personal life. How many kids do you have?
I've got 6 boys.
6, all boys?
All boys.
Oh, no girls?
No girls. I mean, I don't think there's any jockeys. So the Moore dynasty is jockeys finished, I think.
Oh, what? There's someone...
They're just too tall, Rayon. Too
Is
tall.
it?
Yeah.
Even the youngest one is only 6, right?
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and push him.
Okay.
He's not very big.
Okay.
So we might have a little chance there.
A little chance.
But, I mean, the Moore family, we've had a great run in our life. Because like I pointed out in Australia, when I did a television interview, Rayon, we have won say titles. You take Daddy's 11-time champion trainer Hong Kong, 10 times champion jockey Australia, my titles, which totals 16, and then you've got John's, 7. So we've got 44 titles, Moore family.
Yeah.
I think probably the winningest family in the world. Very proud of.